Don't give a fuck about no kid killing himself to my music. If you're that stupid to kill yourself over some music, then that's your fault.
What is up, Jimmy?
Alright guys, I just got back from a week-long trip and I decided the first thing I'm going to do is just start making videos again. Over the past week I came up with like 7 or 8 different topics to talk about in videos, but I think I'm going to talk about the most recent one because it's the most relevant at the time. This girl called Gigi Jarvis on TikTok decided she was going to start a cult, and it started on July 10th, and she made a whole reaction video when it fell apart on July 16th, so it didn't even last a week. The whole situation was kind of just mishandled from both sides though, so let's just get into the first video.
I'm starting a cult and you guys are all going to be a part of it. The first thing I want to start doing is Victim of the Week, where whoever drops the funniest photo in my comment section, I'm going to steal your profile picture and become you for a whole week.
This looks pretty bad, but honestly it could be 10 times worse. Kinda just looks like she understands cults are bad, but she's trying to twist it in some silly, fun type of way. Like, she understands cults have victims, which is a problem, and this might come off as insensitive from her, but I don't think it's realistically the worst thing you can do. I understand the bit of trying to make light out of a dark situation like being in a cult, but this just comes off as a shitty bit, honestly. But keep in mind the part where she says they're gonna have victims because she understands cults have victims, and it's a problem because that's gonna be important later. The second video in the series is just her saying they're gonna have a holiday every month and how they're gonna use the lime emoji to represent the holiday. Then she made a second day 2 video, which is actually way more interesting, so we're gonna get into that.
It is now time to choose our cult symbol. This is how we know who is in the inn. Don't think of the emoji as a texting thing. Think of it as me literally coming to you and branding it onto your skin.
The one thing I don't really get is that it's always been like a community from the beginning, except she calls it a cult and then she throws in like cult things here and there. It feels so safe edgy because it's just a community on TikTok that she just feels the need to throw a cult joke in here and there. And I'm gonna be so real with y'all, I pretty much just would not care about this at all, but later on she contradicts herself multiple times with all this and it just pisses me off. And then she made days 3 and 4, which nothing really happened either of those days, but the day after she made an apology-esque video. Because people were telling her how bad cults are and that she should not be glorifying cults, so she had to backtrack and say that she used the wrong word and they're not actually a cult.
I know that being called a cult was not the best. There's definitely other names to call this, but now that because of using a clickbait word, we have developed this into a platform, a cultural movement. The engagement is so high. I would love to give back in a sense that I'm posting resources about what is a cult, how to navigate that.
She says that maybe she used the wrong word here with cult and that she could have used something else, but she did say they were going to have victims and they're going to sacrifice people's pets. Both jokes, but those are things that cults do. So it's obviously a joke and it's not really a cult, but to say that the term cult doesn't fit the description of what she's doing isn't necessarily fair. Because this is going to sound corny to say, but her community is based off a cult. She didn't just call what she was doing a cult, she tried to interweave her community with the inner workings of a cult, even as a joke. I can see why people would be mad about that. It just happens that the people that are mad about that are some of the dumbest people I've seen on TikTok. Because people kept telling her to not call herself a cult because that's glorifying cults, so she said, okay, my bad, I'm not a cult. Then those same people were saying that's what cults say and cults don't call themselves cults. They went from, you're not a cult, stop calling yourself that, to, you are a cult, just admit it at this point. Because there's just no winning or redeeming yourself with these TikTok people, and the second she posted her first video on this, she already lost. At this point, I was feeling kind of bad for her because yeah, she was in the wrong, but honestly, it wasn't that bad a mistake to make, and people were just hating on her way too hard for this. Then she made her next rant video, and I can comfortably say I hate everybody involved in this situation.
Cult is a bad word and you should have known better. Okay, well, I didn't, and the second I did get informed, I immediately changed everything to community because that's what it's always been. And if it's common sense, then why did 150,000 people also put the little emoji in their name tag?
Now this is where she completely loses me because she didn't know cults were bad until people told her on TikTok. So she knew what cults did because she knew they had sacrifices and stuff, but she didn't know they were bad somehow. It gets even more unbelievable when you figure out she has a degree in sociology. And I'll just read the first result on Google. Sociology is a scientific study of society, human social behavior, and the patterns of social interactions. I feel like if you're learning about the behavior of people, you'd figure out that cults are bad pretty easily. And I'm only saying this because she's running the if I knew cults were bad the whole time I wouldn't have done it angle. If she just came out and said I know cults are bad but I just used it because I thought it was funny, it would be a nothing burger. Don't get me wrong, it wouldn't be a good excuse, but it's an excuse that I can at least rationalize. Because I just simply cannot believe that a grown adult with a degree in sociology does not know that cults are bad. And the second part where she's like, why did 150k people join then? It's mostly kids, I would assume. I also really don't like how she pulled the I didn't know I did anything bad, but if I did something bad, then all the people who joined also did something bad, so berate them too. This is a video where she said she's taking accountability for her actions, and this is literally the furthest thing away from accountability. I said I was feeling pretty bad for her after the last video, but 30 seconds into this 6-minute video, she completely lost me.
Like, guys, are we actually seeing images of the animals? And if yes, are we seeing images of the animal with the owner beforehand? Like, are we sure that these people aren't just getting random pictures online and trolling you guys in these Discord chats? Or are we actually even seeing the animal, like, dead or anything? Like...
So apparently people are posting that they actually are sacrificing their own animals to the cult, which is not very good. So instead of doing the rational thing and being like, you know what, that's my bad for even mentioning sacrificing animals like in any shape or form, she goes out and she's like, I'm not sure these are actually sacrificed to my cult. I mean, how could we be sure these are not sacrificed to another TikTok cult? Like, even if she didn't specifically tell them, go sacrifice your animals, she was teetering the line a little bit with young, impressionable kids. I don't want to be the guy that's like, oh, think about the kids, but yeah, this is one of those situations that you probably should be thinking about the kids. And I'm also not the type of guy to be like, a content creator is 100% responsible for their audience, but she was teetering towards telling them to do some pretty crazy stuff, so maybe she is a little bit responsible.
Anywho, found the person that is allegedly carving themselves. Yeah, and they posted an apology video saying, hey guys, sorry, I just posted an eyeliner pic of my arm in black and white filter with caption over it because I wanted to prove that cults were bad. I'm really sorry. Thank you to you too, because you're also ruining my life. Thank you.
I really wonder if people are ruining her life, like she says, or if people are just being mean to her on the internet. I also don't like how she frames it here, saying she didn't actually cut herself, so it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, the person who did it's a dickhead, but the idea was there. She's claiming to run a cult in all these videos and not saying it's satire or a joke or anything, so if a kid does end up cutting themselves because they think it's a real cult, then it would be her fault. And then once again, the main problem is that she leaned way too much into actual cult ideas. If she just started a community and called it a cult, literally nobody would give a shit. I could start the Jimmy Zero, Jimmy O cult right now and nobody would care. Second we start running monthly sacrifices though, people might start caring.
There's people now on my Instagram in my comment sections telling photographers I work with that I groom kids online. Y'all are insane. Y'all are insane and it's disgusting. I worked with kids most of my life. I know better than to be on a one-on-one situation with them. That's the reason I don't join any of y'all's little discords. Like, I'm gonna let y'all do you. I'm gonna let you do you, okay? I'm gonna sit this one out. You're telling people I work with that I groom kids. Where is your evidence? You guys are trying to ruin my life over rumors that you're starting.
So it looks like they actually are trying to ruin her life, which is pretty insane. This takes very little critical thinking to figure out that she's not actually starting a real cult. And if she was starting a real cult, maybe you could say that she's grooming kids into that, but you can't just call somewhere and be like, oh, she's grooming kids, because that's not what people think when you hear grooming. So in conclusion, she's a dumbass for trying to start a cult and make it silly, which makes it not really a cult. And everyone disagreeing with her is also a dumbass for different reasons. I also hate the idea that people are just so okay with ruining other people's lives over TikToks. You should save those times for the really big occasions like Nova Online, who's a big predator. And I think that's going to go ahead and do it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord, join the Twitter, both in the description. Go watch my podcast, Rehooked, and I'm going to catch you guys next time.
Who said it? Which one of you? And who'd you hear it from? Whoever you heard it from, tell them, if I find them, they're not going to breathe one last breath on this plane of existence.
Yo, I've been liking this Jimmy guy. I'm not gonna lie.
I
I've
like
been
this Jimmy
liking my
guy.
tweets.
Dude,
I,
this
uh,
Jimmy, dude,
What he says makes sense. He makes sense a lot.
this
of the
guy
time.
just gets
Jim-
it right.
Jimmy
Yeah, he
seems
just
like a
gets it right.
YN.